We're live. That is the hog squeal of Josh Elderton, and I'm also joined by Jared Schaefer and Greg Godfrey. Guys, welcome to the East Meets West Hunt / Tethrd / Untamed podcast here, I guess.
Big collab, I guess.
That's
Yeah,
right.
man.
It's the only way to do it.
Sitting on the back porch in West Virginia.
Go big or go home.
That's right.
Yep, it's a beautiful, nice 90-degree weather day down here in southern West Virginia.
Yeah, and we haven't had this weather just hit us. West Virginia's unfortunate on the seasons. It goes from winter
To summer,
back to winter.
Really?
Yeah, we have like a week of that perfect weather, like when it's sunny, there's a nice breeze, and it's like 55, 60, 65, and that was last week. And then we're in the 80s and 90s now, and that's the way it'll stay from now until September.
Really?
but it could snow next week.
That's right.
You never know.
That's right. Especially in the northern part of the state.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get the little bit of we get more of a spring. We don't get much summer. We get winter, a little bit of spring, fall, and then winter.
Right back into winter.
Yeah.
Winter back again.
And then Greg's down summer year round, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get hot and less hot.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
There's hot and less hot.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you, November through May in Savannah is really nice. I mean, we have very few days that it gets cold. We might have 5 days that it gets in the 30s and below.
Does the humidity drop?
Yeah.
So it's just like nice air.
It's just nice. The only bad part is the bugs stay out pretty much year round. So if it's beautiful, it could be January and 58, 62 degrees, and you'll get bugs coming out, which kind of sucks. But
You're going to have to deal with the skeeters and
you got to deal with
yeah.
the skeeters and the
The
snakes.
spiders and snakes.
Yeah, they're kind of
Yeah,
always around.
I'm not really a fan of that.
Yeah.
The snakes don't bother me.
The snakes go away. I mean, from that same time frame, November through May, I mean, the snakes are pretty much gone.
I mean, we had to deal with a snake right here yesterday.
Yeah, that's true.
What kind was it?
black
Big old
snake.
black snake.
I crawled out of the bottom of my grill.
About 5 foot.
A 5-footer. My wife would have opened that up and seen that in there, and she would have made me burn the whole house down.
It was that big.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a 5-footer.
Jared was sitting here and saw the reflection in the door window and was like, "Oh my God!" And he looked and said, "Man, that's a big snake."
And he was just like he had like 3 foot
yeah.
of his head out.
Yeah.
He was just kind of doing this,
Yeah.
surveying everything.
Really?
Like, who is he gonna swallow first?
yeah, who's he going to take down?
And here,
whole?
I'm on one leg, and I don't like snakes anyway. I don't care if they're friendlies or not. And
Why are you on one leg, Josh?
I'm going to the door.
Well, hold on. Before we get into the one leg thing, he got that spider that we saw here last night.
Oh, the big one?
Yeah, it's first. Yeah, I've met you in person before, but I'm just hanging out here with you guys, and I have a fear of spiders. I don't like spiders. Anybody that follows me on Instagram watches my summer spider stick stories. I don't go through the woods without an 8-foot stick
I do the
with
same
a figure
thing.
8 pattern.
I do that.
And I go, I'm thinking about coming out with one commercially, but when you have to go through that. But anyways, we're sitting here, and I don't know if it was your wife Stacy or whoever was like, "That's a big spider over there."
Yeah.
And who was like trying to kill it, but not in a easy way. I can't remember what they were doing, but I was like, stomp on it. Like
he started tripping out.
I'm just sitting here. I'm trying to act calm. Like that thing needs to die. Like you can't let that thing get underneath the couch. And it comes up my leg and I'm dead. It'll go right for your throat.
Yeah, well,
It'll 100% go right for your throat. And that thing was big. And then you told me the story about the black widow.
Yeah,
that
black
bit
widow
you.
bit me right under my left knee in my sleeping bag.
Tell that story.
No, we were at our deer camp, and we had got there and went to bed on Friday night, and it was real cold that morning, and my buddy Sean that I deer hunt with, we woke up that morning, and I was like, "Daggone, man," I said, "My knee's bothering me, Sean." He said, "Hey, don't be a wimp, for better terms. I know you're just trying to get out of hunting. It's cold." And I was like, "No, man, my knee's hurting." And I was like, "Well, look, we'll go hunting though." And then we went to hunting, and he killed a deer. But like throughout the morning, my leg, every time my heart beat, I could feel it in my left knee. I mean, it's killing me. And what finally swelled up, and at that time I was using climbing gaffs all the time. whether I was tree stand hunting or not. I got in and out of the tree with climbing gaffs, and I couldn't put them on and get out of the tree, so I just threw everything out of the tree and shimmied down because my knee was hurting so bad. So I helped him drag the deer out, and we got back to camp, and like I dropped my britches, and my knee was, swollen, and I said, my God. And so, me being me and my decisions, instead of going somewhere and get checked out, I was like, well, I'll have a couple beers and it'll all be good. And then that night, I broke into just a major fever and woke up in the middle of the night and my leg was just swelled up. And we left out of there like 2 a.m. and went straight to the hospital. And I was in the hospital, I think it was 8 or 9 days.
Wow.
That I was in the hospital. And I left everything there. I mean, that's how bad. Like, he drove me, and I was moaning for 2 hours to get to the hospital. Like, my heart beat. And what had happened was, when I got to the hospital, my system had gone septic. And infection, you could see the red and yellow streaks in my leg, and it was completely infected. And so when they were packing our stuff up, Sean went through all my stuff, and I had killed that spider in my sleep. And I got bit right below my kneecap, and it jacked me up. I'm not as, like, spiders don't terrify me like you.
Yeah, me
but,
neither.
but it, like, you would not think. You always hear about that stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I was in the hospital for like 8 or 9 days, getting
Goodness
like
gracious.
high doses of antibiotics to get the infection and everything out. I mean, it screwed me up.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff happens to me. I mean, I'm 45, and it continuously happens to me. Like, I think it will end at some point, but I think it's just because you put yourself out there. You play numbers.
When you go, it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it happened with me and Greg on Thursday. That same guy that was with me on the spider bite, like, he's my best friend. And he says, man, 2 things are going to happen when you hang out with Josh. He said, 1, you're going to have an absolute blast, or 2, you're going to feel like you're going to die. He said that for 25 years now.
Maybe it's the same event.
You may die, but you're having a blast.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
It could be the same event like it was on Thursday.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Greg got to experience a little bit.
Yeah, that's what happens when you challenge the wrong pig. You go from having a blast to, we might die.
So
Yeah.
what happened on Thursday? Let's hear the story.
Well, we were out turkey hunting, and I saw some little shoats, the little baby piglets, whatever you want to call them, and we were going to this where they were. That's where we were going to call. And they got up out of this ditch or whatever you want to call it, and they jumped up and ran over the hill. And so we walked up, and we was going to call, but 15 yards down the hill there was a big sow with all the shoats. And so we walked up, and I said, Josh, there's a big boar down there, and Josh couldn't see it because there was this pine tree, and I'm gonna let him tell the rest of it in a minute because he's way better at it than me. But I said, Josh, there's a big boar hog down there. And
I'm telling him,
and he said, I can't see it.
I said, I can't see. He said, there's two monster hogs, and I'm like, I'm thinking, what is he looking at? But Greg's like 8 or 10 feet from me on the right.
Yeah,
and he's seen.
I just had the right point of view.
He had the different point of view behind this little pine bush, and man, that sucker come out and tried to get on that sow. And, I mean, he was being aggressive. I mean, right off the bat. And Greg's filming with his phone. I was like, you filming? He's like, no. I said, let's film him. And he's like, I don't know, man. Because we're talking on the way out there.
Yeah.
We're walking through this open ground. I was like, Greg, I know you want to look at these hogs. I said, just remember, man, there's not even big trees here to get in. If they get after us, we're going to have to get it. And so we're over there looking, and then this big boar comes out from behind that bush, and I was like, oh gosh, and they're 15 yards.
They're close.
That's they're
and that's real close.
Yeah, and the wind is in our face, so they're not smelling us at all. And so I'm laughing with Greg, just making fun of these hogs, and I was like, oh man, he's being real aggressive. You see him try to get that sow.
He hooked her pretty good.
Yeah, he hooked that sow. And like they let out a little, and they're just down there, and next thing you know, man, this big boar, he's like eating.
Sees us.
He's eating, and all of a sudden, like, he silhouettes. It's like he pops up, man, and I mean, he. I'm like, I'm telling Greg, we're laughing though. I was like, oh man, he's being aggressive. Greg's like, yeah, Josh, he's being aggressive, and so then I let, like, so I thought I was going to help because usually you can mess with them and it scares them off, and they're like any other animal when they leave the country. And man, I let out a big pig squeal, and I don't know if he thought it was a challenge, which I wasn't challenging him. You know, I don't mess.
What were you trying to do then?
Well, I just mess with them, and it's probably the wrong thing to do. But I told you, Greg came down and hunted.
You're either
with me.
gonna have a blast, or you're gonna feel like you're dying.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, yeah,
And sometimes there's just milliseconds that separate the two feelings.
yeah. And I told Greg last year, he came down and Jared came down and Beau hunted with me, and I was telling them that, like.
Well, I said, hey, Josh, I'm a little nervous. I mean, I've seen all your videos. You guys, there's just bears everywhere out here. I said, I don't live where there's bears, so I'm a little nervous. And he said, you don't got to be nervous about them bears. I ain't afraid of no bears. I'm afraid of them hogs.
Yeah,
the hogs.
Yeah, they bugger me up, man. They do. They really get me buggered. And I told Greg about this past fall when he was down deer hunting with me. And then we see him, and Greg's like, man, I want to check them out. And so we get out there.
And also, I've seen hundreds of pigs, and I've shot 20, 30 pigs down in Georgia. Killed a bunch of them. They're everywhere, but they're feral pigs. They're not Russian boars.
Yeah.
And apparently the difference in aggression is a major deal.
Yeah, so I squealed at this thing, and I honestly think he was coming at us no matter what, but I enticed.
He could have been.
Yeah, I enticed him. And provoked him.
He was
a
the
little bit.
last straw. Yeah.
And I
The
was
straw that broke the camel's back.
I said, we got to go.
And I was way ahead of you, buddy. I was already gone.
Yeah, and the video you got on your phone is hilarious. You hear you do the squeal, and that thing just like
He just keeps coming.
Instant.
and the phone just turns off.
Yeah, oh yeah. He's staring up the hill at us, and then Josh squeals at him like a moron. And right away, it's just, room. He's coming.
Oh, is he not?
Coming.
Dude.
He's coming to kill.
Yeah. And like, I know. Like, you turn, and the truck's only like 60, 70 yards.
Yeah.
Might as
And
well
dude-
be a mile.
Dude,
Yeah.
when we turned and I looked at the truck, my only thing in my head was, we ain't
gonna make it. That's what I thought too.
I'm telling
I was
you.
like, geez, that truck's a long way away. I don't remember walking that far. It's 3 miles down the road now.
The only thing I was thinking was I got to catch up with Greg and get past him. So he's behind me.
So he tripped me on purpose. And I take a header. I busted up both my arms. I thought I broke my arm. And I still had my phone in my hand because I was filming. And when I fell, I took a header. I just, like I was sliding into home plate. I mean, I just took it. And my phone smashes the rocks, totally breaks my phone. And I look up, and Josh he's still on his feet over there for a second more. Until you try to step over to the next little.
I tried to go over to another next.
Well,
little,
explain what those things
So-
are, because it's
So on
like ruts.
on the old strip job, they'll bring a large dozer in with a ripper on the back of it, and they'll bury that ripper in the ground because everything there is rock. And in order to get vegetation, they'll rip it up. So it's like it's the same thing as plowing,
Yeah.
but it's just on a much bigger scale.
Really rough, yeah.
And it rolls all the rocks up and opens up the rocks and
That's
soil.
the thing is the rocks.
And there's nothing but rock there. So you're trying to run. So you got like 2 to 3 foot berms, but they're only like 8 inches wide on top of them. You're trying to run on top of them.
Yeah. It's
Without-
kind of like walking through a cut cornfield
Yeah.
with somebody took a load of bowling balls and just hundreds of them. And so it's like there's
and
no
it's all rocky.
stability.
And like I'm trying to jump from one to the other. And like you can hear, like when we turn to run, you can hear, you know he's there. You know what I'm saying? And Greg fell, and I turned and saw Greg fall, and I was like, oh God, this could not be good. Because I mean, literally, if a boar gets you down, you're on the ground.
You're in trouble.
I mean, they're going to hook you, and when they hook you, there's no there's nothing you can do. It's going to rip whatever gets hooked. That's simple facts. And
So they rip you with, is it their
with their tusk?
Is that okay?
Yeah. So their tusks come out, and I mean, if you killed any hogs, but their tusks come out and they're like triangles.
Oh, sharp too.
And they're sharp. I mean, they'll hook an animal because they're not real agile, but they'll hook. And then
obviously neither are you guys.
I was showing cat-like reflexes.
Yeah.
But, my knee just didn't withstand. But I saw Greg go down, and I tried to jump to the other one to try to have some side movement. Did not work out for me because as soon as I landed, I knew that it was going to get me. I hollered. I said, Godfrey! I said, I'm down. I said, I'm down,
And
Godfrey.
I was getting up at this point.
So wait, no, but the first thing is normally you think about when you have to outrun your buddy, if you're outrunning him, that first person down's getting hit. Well, the hog just passed him up, right?
Right.
Well, we think that what might have happened is when I went down,
they're so deep.
It's like a trench kind of. So I'm in the trench, and we think that maybe he just couldn't see me, and so we took off towards Josh, and that's when Josh ate it, and he yelled, "Godfrey, I'm down!" And so I'm coming up, and I look over, and the pig just, luckily, I mean, he wasn't 10 yards from you, and he just kind of peeled and went back down off the mountain. And he left.
And then Godfrey runs over to me, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got you." I was like, "Oh, Godfrey. Oh, I'm jacked."
Yeah, you were hurting.
I mean, it was like instant. I don't know if the listeners have had like major injuries, but like I've had major injuries to my shoulders, femur, knees, like excruciating pain. Like my toes came up and touched my belt. When I fell, it completely buckled. And then Greg comes over and he's grabbing me, and like we know that hog's there and he's aggressive. We're like,
come back.
He could come back. Like, this dude trying to kill us, man. Let's get out of here. And he grabs me, and we're trying to walk through all that, and my knee just keeps on completely buckling out, falling out. And I was like, Godfrey, just get the truck. I said, I need to lay down anyway. I'm going to faint. I said, I'm going to go out.
White as a ghost.
Yeah, because of the pain. But I didn't, and we ended up getting out of there, and all was well and good.
And then this maniac starts laughing he's like, "You believe that, hog? He almost got us." I'm like, what? This guy's insane.
Yeah.
I low crawl back to the truck, and I'm talking to Godfrey the whole time. I'm like, Dude, was that not unbelievable?
You're walking. He's there pulling himself.
Wasn't that awesome? And I go back to get the truck to pull it as close as I can, which was probably only 20 yards, maybe not even 20, but just a little bit closer to him.
Yeah.
And then the poor guy, Josh he's tough as nails because there's no way you're getting out of there easily. So we are not in a very hospitable place to begin with. We're not close to any real roads. These are just back roads. This is coal mining country, and it's rough. It's as rough as it gets, and every little bump, I mean, it had to just be excruciating pain. I mean,
and he's taking his time driving.
I'm trying to be kind, but
like if he hit, and they're rocky, rough roads, but like if he hit like a 1-inch rock on the tire, like I felt it in my leg.
Bad.
It was unbelievable.
And this whole time he thinks you tripped him, so he's like, rock, boom.
Oh yeah,
pothole.
In hindsight, he tripped me. I didn't know it at the time, but now I know.
We've laughed about it for 2 days now, because everybody hears that. Hey, if you run into a bear, you don't have to worry about it. You just have to worry about you outrunning your buddy, right? So, like thinking about it now, like when Greg took off running, he was in the lead. But then when I passed him up, I was thinking, I'm in the front. Greg was thinking, oh, hell no.
I never saw you pass me. I just saw you go off to the side.
Yeah.
And then, because at that time I was eating it.
Yeah. We ate it pretty quick. I mean,
I didn't make it probably 20 yards before I ate it.
Yeah, I mean, this happened over 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't expect the pig to charge. I mean, even if we'd yelled at him, thrown rocks at him, I figured he'd have been like every other animal, and they get scared of humans and they leave. He was not scared of us at all.
Greg will have a what's that when you're paranoid about something that's happening when
Phobia.
he'll have a phobia coming to southern West Virginia with hogs.
Yeah, well, now I'm gonna be deer hunting down back in Georgia, and I'm gonna see pigs. Normally, I'd have just whatever. Now I'm
He's gonna run.
gonna start having heart palpitations.
But it was a good day.
Josh is an animal, though. We get back and we meet up with Jared and Kirk. Jared had just missed a turkey, and
We don't need to bring that up.
I had to
I
bring-
don't remember
I
hearing
had to bring that up.
No.
Yeah, he had missed a turkey.
Oh yeah.
So we get back, and Josh is like, well, Greg, why don't you just jump in with Kirk and Jared in their truck, and y'all go finish out the turkey hunt. I'll just stay here. I'm like, no, you got to get you off this mountain, man. You got to go
said,
get some ice on
I said, I'll drive on back. I said, they had like 4 hours to go, left in legal time. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, and they're up here from out of town. You want to get your time in and give them the best opportunity. But Greg and them, they was good fellas like normal. And they come along with me and got me to the house. So it was a good experience. It's going to be a story, I think, that Jared and Greg and I and Kirk can tell for a lot of
Yeah.
years.
That's not one I'll forget.
And I didn't know this had happened. You texted me Thursday night and said, gave me your directions to your house. I didn't think anything of it. And I pull in here last night pretty late. I don't know, a little after 10. And I call you out in the driveway. I was like, hey, I'm here. And you're like, I'd come out to greet you, but I really can't get up out of my seat right now.
Yeah.
He's like, just come in the front door. I was
I was like, just come on in, man. And and we have open door, revolving door up here at the house, and love having people. So I was just like, come on in, man. And he was like, okay, because I end up going to the doctor the next morning, yesterday morning, and most likely when the MRI confirms it this week, I'll go in for ACL reconstruction and be back in a few months.
No big deal.
just another day.
Yeah, that's part of it. Like I told him last night, you get your surgery's no big deal. You get your mind right. You go in there and slap yourself that morning when you're getting ready to go under. Know that you're going to have 4, 5, 6 days of absolute misery. Then it starts getting better.
I can picture him standing in front of the mirror. Come on, fly. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
You got
You
this.
get fired up, and go have surgery and get it taken care of, and be back this fall. So
Yeah.
it's part of it.
I hope it works out for you, man.
Yeah.
I felt terrible after all the adrenaline, dumps, and you get back and you start to get your wits about you, and you start realizing that he's actually hurt.
Yeah.
This isn't.
Oh yeah,
This isn't like like me. I fell. I got a bunch of bruises and cuts. Not a big deal. Josh is
Yeah.
actually injured, and man, it was something. I was legitimately afraid for my life. For I mean, if you go back and really think about it, probably only about 30 seconds. From charge to run to fall to talk with Josh and realize that the pig's gone. I mean, realistically, probably 30 seconds of my life. But for those 30 seconds, I was legitimately thinking I might meet my maker.
I wish that pig had a GoPro on.
Oh, God.
You guys are just like, one
I-
boom.
I can assure you that our excitement level went from 5 to 200 on a 100 scale.
And for me, you hear about different strategies in bear country, like with black bears, stand your ground, get big, look tough, loud. With grizzlies, you play dead. You hear these different strategies. When that pig started charging, there was zero thought in my head of standing tall and challenging this pig. It was
Run.
expletive. I have to leave this moment. Not in a millisecond from now. Now.
Yeah.
Well,
Those-
I mean, but even like say with bears, you hear all those things. But I don't know about you, but when the adrenaline kicks in, you forget about everything. You're
Probably
like,
so.
wait,
Yeah.
am I supposed to stand tall? Am I
Or
supposed to
play
growl
dead.
at it? Am I supposed to play dead? Wrong animal.
Yeah.
Dead.
Hey, you
Yeah.
just don't have time.
Those
Yeah.
plans go
There's
out the
no
window
thought.
quickly.
Instincts take
I would
over.
have been way more comfortable if we were looking at a sow and cubs, just because of past experience. Just the hogs in southern West Virginia, they're like no joke. I mean,
Yeah.
they're mean. And if it would have been a sow and cubs, I'd have sat there and talked to them and everything, and Greg would have sat there and filmed it, even if she would have false charged and came and slapped the ground, and she's going to stop. She's not going to come up there and get none.
Well,
I mean, I know
have you ever had a bear charge you?
I've been flip-flopped.
I don't know what that means.
I had one come out. We had one bait up in a big pile of brush, and Jay was with me. He was with me directly, and this is the second bear hunt that Jay Cox had ever been on, and we had a probably 175 pound bear bait up in the brush, and I said, "Hey man," I said, "you just stay right there." I said, "I'm gonna walk in, and I'm gonna put my pistol through the brush and put it right on his head, and kill him right there." And he said, "Okay, yeah, all right." So I'm walking into that brush pile, and I get right in the brush, and I had to get in the brush and kind of, because when you're shooting that close with the dogs, you want to put the barrel on the fur. I mean, you're there, you're 5 feet, you know, and you're trying to reach in. You want your arms to be like that guy off of Fantastic Four, Mr. Stretch,
Yeah,
or Dr. Stretch. You know, you're trying to get all you can. Well, I was going through the brush with my pistol, and the bear saw me and turns, and he starts coming out of the brush pile. Well, I start backing up. Well, it's the same thing. You're not going to get out of the way. And I shot like 3 times, like at my feet. And he comes by me, he clips my left leg. I mean, completely pummels me and flip-flops me. And, you know, I figure out that I'm okay, and I jump up, and Jay, his eyeballs are like this big, and his jaw's down to his belly, and I jump up and gave a big war cry. I go, "Whoa!" I said, "Hell yeah!" And Jay is speechless. He's like, what have I got myself into? And so I got hit in. And then I think that's the worst I've been hit. I've been close with them, and they swat. But
yeah, I don't even want to tell my story anymore. I was like, you've actually been flip flopped by a bear.
I had radio, GPS, everything. I had to pick up everything, man. I was so stoked up though.
Yeah,
You know,
adrenaline rush.
yeah. And I'm like, come on, let's go. And he's like, dude, I want to go back to the car and get my bottle of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a lot of bears in Pennsylvania, and I never think much of it because I've just always grown up around them. They don't really bother me. But last year I was running cameras in the summer, and I was coming out, and I saw a sow and some cubs on the way in about a mile away, and the way out I was in some real thick stuff, and I was like, my spider stick obviously in hand, and I was going through this brush, and all of a sudden I just heard this just growl, and I caught her off guard what it was, and she saw me the same time, and she came out, and I drew my pistol right away, and I was just holding it, screaming at her, and she stood up from about a little bit farther than the fireplace away and stood up on her hind legs, and I was like, I don't want to kill you, like, go, like, turn around. And she turns around, starts walking the other way. Don't the cubs go running right past me and up the tree right behind me? I'm like, son of a bitch. Like, here we go. And she does another charge at me, but it was bluff charge. Like, she wasn't.
Yeah.
I think she was just trying to scare me what it was.
That's right.
And then so I kept my pistol up. I just backed away until I got out, and there was like a gated road, and I got on that, and I just ended up, getting away from it. But I've never had any other close calls with black bears.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's the closest I've been is when that one knocked me down. I saw one come out of the tree and jump on Chad. I mean, like he literally come out of the tree, and Chad started running, and he jumped on Chad's back. And Chad went over the hill with him, and I'll have to show you all that clip on my phone because he's hollering at me. I'm down there with dogs, and Chad's like, Josh, you better watch yourself. That's the only open place that the bear can go. I said, dude, you better watch yourself. I said, I'm good down here. I was 8-10 foot away from the tree with the dogs, and that bear come down the bottom of the tree, and he's just looking at Chad, and Chad's going, hey bear. So it tells me that we shouldn't say anything to animals. We shouldn't be able to try to talk to the animals. I was trying to talk to that hog Thursday, and
Poor
he jacked
choice.
me up.
It's a poor choice.
Just
Right.
don't talk to him.
Chad was trying to talk to that bear. He was going, hey bear. Well, that hey bear, he thought that bear thought he said, hey, come on. And dude,
Thought it
Chad,
was a challenge.
yeah. he jumped over the hill, and luckily Chad jumped over the hill when that bear jumped on him, and he turned over, and that bear rode him down face to face. And when Chad hit, he threw the bear off of him. That's no kidding. We got it on phone. We got it on a phone clip. And he jumps up, and I'm like, oh, guys, y'all, I'm on the radio. I'm like, you're not going to believe what just happened. And Chad's war crying, going, oh, yeah, hell yeah. And I'm like, hey, dude, are you okay? Did you get hit? You got any scratches? Because that's mainly what the bears will do. They'll palm you, and then that's all they're doing is swatting. But they're not really like a big, everybody thinks a bear is going to rip you open like Wolverine or something. That's not. They're just patting around, hitting on you a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I got two buddies that bears have jumped out of trees and got, but it doesn't happen a lot.
Jared, do you have many bears up where you're at?
We're getting more and more every year, but I don't have any encounters really with them. I mean, I killed one with a bow, but that was just
up by your place.
Yeah, he just came walking in. I was deer hunting.
Really?
And you're from northern West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm from northern West Virginia. So this down here is this is way different than from where I'm at. So
Yeah. I feel like I need to come down here more. It seems like the most exciting adrenaline rush filled
It's the
place.
Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what he said the other day. He said it's truly.
It's true. Yeah.
And you don't have any down there in Georgia, right?
No. Well, there are bears. And I have seen whatever you want to call it, Florida panther, mountain lion, cougar, it's all the same thing. But I have seen those in Florida.
Really?
Once or twice. Never threatened me or anything, just seen them in the woods. But it does make you think twice about it. And then I saw the video. You showed me a video once. I don't remember where you were, where that cat came out of the tree at you.
Yeah, in Colorado.
And you got the phone going, and it's like right at you.
Yeah, he's if I would have thought about it, which I wasn't thinking about it, I was actually thinking about just holding everything in my system in, if you know what I mean. I was worried about tightening my sphincter up. But I could have put my hand out and touched that cat when he came out of the tree.
Jeez.
Yeah, he leaps. He leaps right at the phone, like at the camera, and Josh is like, "Whoop!" And the cat just goes by.
The reason the cat comes out is a buddy of mine is climbing in the tree with the cat.
It's nuts.
To sex check it because he's on a big steep limb, and his head is down, and we can't see under his anal, under his anus. A male has a black sack, like right there. It's like a black button that you can see that are toms. So it was pointing uphill, and we all kept on glassing with our binoculars because you have to be sure of, you have to sex check them. It's really important. So we were trying to sex check it, and we were, they tell you to throw snowballs, whatever, to get them to move so you can be sure. And this son of a gun wouldn't move. So a buddy of mine said, I'm going to climb up there and get it checked out. So my buddy.
Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. That's it.
Yeah.
So my buddy, he takes off climbing up this cottonwood. And it splits about 12 foot up, it splits. Well, the cat's in one side, and my buddy goes up the other side. He gets over there. He might have, what do you think he's got between 10, 12 feet?
It's nothing.
It's not yards. It's 10, 12 feet.
He's right there.
He's
with
eye
the
level,
cat.
eye level with the cat. He breaks it, and that cat is still on the limb. The listeners got to imagine that the cat's way up in the tree, but he's looking facing down the tree. So his butt and his genitals are up in the sky, and we can't see. So my buddy was like, and this cat's still looking at him, but he's sitting up, and he's like, "Oh, we can't tell what it is." Well, my buddy gets a dead stick. He breaks it off the tree, and he goes over there and hits the cat in the butt with it. This is no lie. And the cat starts coming down the tree, and he says, "It's a tom." Well, it comes down, and I'm filming this one limb, and I was like, he's going to go out that limb right there, and then we'll catch him on the way. And he skips that limb, and I was like, uh-oh. Then he comes out that limb straight at me, and he's coming, and I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I could have petted him when he came past me, and he hit the ground, started running. We let the dogs loose, and we ended up baying it up 400 or 500 yards from there and killing it. But like for 2 minutes while my buddy's in the tree, it's like, I don't know. Is this a reason we always are injured? You know, do we need to take this chance?
So, is it a law to only shoot toms, or what is your?
No, it's not a law. But in the area we were hunting in Colorado, when you look at the units and the quotas, we would rather kill toms than. I'm not against killing female cats by any means, because you got to control the population. But at that point, the female quotas were full. So you have to kill toms.
Gotcha.
And you have to be 100%. I mean, it tells you, on your, you got to be 100% on your sex before you kill it.
Gotcha.
And you don't want to be that guy that there's, even if it was a female, and you were only allowed to kill females in that quota, and you end up killing a tom and checking it in. You don't want to be that guy.
No,
because they don't care if you think that you didn't hear the quota from the night before when you called in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you sex check them.
Yeah. All right, that makes sense. I just wasn't sure
that's
how
what
that
it's all about.
Mountain lions they're my favorite animal. Like ever since I was a kid, like I thought they were like the coolest. They're also one of the things that are like kind of freak me out a little bit too. Like they're one of those. When I was in Colorado in 2017, when I was hunting by myself for elk, and I was sitting down by this wallow, and I fell asleep by the tree and ended up being woken up by an elk. It was a 5x5 throwing mud all over himself, and I called him in, and long story short, I screwed it up. Well, I left, and the next day I came down and said, in the middle of the day, I'm going to sit by this wallow again. Well, in my boot track was a mountain lion track right inside. I'm like, could it have been hours later? He just happened to go through it, maybe. My head, he was stalking me.
Yep.
But then he got up close and he was intimidated, so he turned around. Yeah, right. But it's just one of those things that, I don't know, mountain lions are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it down your way, that the Florida Panthers.
Yep. I shot a raccoon once when I was in a tree stand, and I was hunting over a feeder. I think a corn.
I thought you were born in a
corn
saddle.
No.
Okay, sorry.
No, I wasn't. But I was hunting in a tree stand, probably a climber, and I think I was hunting over a feeder or a pile of corn. It's legal in Florida, and that's how we all did it growing up. But anyway, this big raccoon comes in, and I shoot this raccoon, and I like center punched him, so it was like gut shot. And this is God's honest truth. That raccoon pulled that arrow out of the ground, that was sticking in the ground. He pulled it out, and it was still in him, and then he waddled off, and he's screaming at top of his lungs the whole time, making all kind of racket. And he goes off into the swamp. I don't know how far he went, 30, 40 yards into the swamp, and then he cried a little bit, and he just was there. And next thing I know, here comes a panther, cougar, mount, whatever you want to call him, and he comes, and it wasn't a mature adult. It was like maybe a little bit bigger than a big bobcat.
Okay.
But he had the long tail and everything, and he came and walked right through it, and then I heard a fight, and then it was silence. And then I had to get down, and I was scared. I was scared walking out. But that was it. That was really and I saw a panther one other time, in a different spot, and that's it. That's the only real scary animal conflict I've ever had until I came to visit Joshua in the Untamed, and he put my life at risk.
Yeah, I think their channel has a pretty good name.
Yeah,
they're not tamed over down this way.
That's right.
They bunch of people have tried to.
Josh has invited me down the last couple of years, and I don't know.
You should go, man. This place is wild down there, and the way they hunt, it's a load of fun. It's a lot of work. They have it hard. I mean, you watch these guys' YouTube channel, and sometimes they make it look easy.
Yeah.
I promise you, it is not easy. This country is tough. It doesn't give you an inch. You got to take every inch from them down here, and these guys get it done, man. It's impressive. This is a kind of a weird way to demonstrate it, but we all hunt with these we're all running crispy boots, right? Yep. And they're pretty hardcore boots. They're pretty expensive. They're like $400 a pop. in my mind, it's like a boot that lasts forever.
Yep.
That's the way I see it. I've worn it for a full year now, and for all intents, basically it looks new. It's dirty, but it's in great shape. Well, Kirk comes out and hunts with us, and he's wearing a pair of Crispies that aren't even a year old, and they are destroyed.
They're shot.
He's ripped the soles off. He's punched holes in it. He's on his third pair of shoelaces. I mean, he's destroyed these boots in less than a year. And these are very, very tough boots. Very tough boots.
And
that just
I've been
shows you
running
what this country
Crispies
will do to you.
for a few years too. So yeah, that's saying something.
He destroyed it in less than a year.
Kirk's truck is a year old, Josh.
Yeah.
It's got 50,000 miles on it. And when he comes over later, look at it. The paint is almost worn off the sides.
Oh no, it's gonna rust.
I mean, it's shot.
Yeah,
It's 1 year old.
It's a year old.
It ain't got a bumper on it.
The bumpers are all
tore
torn off.
It's rough.
I mean,
And his paint job, he had sky blue, I think is the color from, or like a cobalt, not a cobalt, but his truck's blue.
What kind of truck is
A
it?
Toyota
Tacoma.
Yeah.
Tacoma. And I'm telling you, you can see it more primer and metal than you can his color of his truck.
Yeah.
He just got a new tailgate. See, a tailgate, that's his third tailgate that's on his truck right now. He gets in a bad habit when he lets his dogs loose and he forgets to put his tailgate up. And then the roads that we're traveling on are mainly side-by-side and four-wheeler roads. Unless we're on the main roads, we take our trucks down four-wheeler paths. Well, Kirk will get to turn around somewhere and he'll forget his tailgate's bound and he'll just krill it, dude, in a tree.
Yeah.
And then he'll just take it off and throw it away and get another one. It's his third one. I mean, he's really rough on stuff.
Yeah, it sounds.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's wild.
I mean, if anybody, I'm telling you, I think I heard Carl and them talking about it down there today at the teaching train, was if there's anybody that needs, if you're looking for somebody to do
like field testing.
Kirk Price is your man. If your product makes it through his testing, you'll make millions.
I don't see how it's possible. And what he did to that pair of Crispies.
Oh, they're gutted.
They're totally destroyed.
Yeah. And I love them. I got the same exact boot. And I don't have as many miles on mine as Kirk because Kirk kind of took he's younger and he's kind of took the reins of making it to every tree and making it everywhere and chasing all the time. And I've kind of become truck boss. But mine have a lot of miles on them. And I swear that I still think that they're one of the best boots made.
Yeah.
I do.
I'm a big fan.
And I just do not, because I've had other brands, and I won't talk about those brands, but I'll get 1 month out of hunting in southern West Virginia of us hound hunting, deer hunting, stalking, everything. I'll get 1 month out of another pair of boots. And I've had my Crispies now. I had them through the fall and turkey season. Now I'm probably going to have to send them back because mine are blowing out too. But
what model do you run?
the Idaho GTXs.
Really? Okay.
And they're awesome. I'm telling you right now, I'm not talking about the Crispy boots because it's the best boot. And then we're not affiliated with them or anything, just talking boot. Them and Kenetrek, I've got a pair of Kenetrek mountain guides. That's probably one of the best boots I've ever owned, but they're a little bit heavy. Like I love wearing them when I'm cat hunting in Colorado and New Mexico. Love them. But back here, they're just a little bit heavy and they have a hard insole. So it's.
Or the Idaho have some synthetic in them too. Like
Yeah.
are they that's I just bought the Colorados.
Yeah.
Crispy.
So it's about the same as the Colorado.
Yeah. And I had Loas before, which is like same
Yeah.
thing, like a really, and those last me 5 years, but they're heavy.
Yeah.
And I wanted something a little bit lighter. And I have another pair of insulated Crispies, the Wild Rocks that I've had for 3 years now. And those boots are awesome, but I wanted something lightweight that I could take out west and come back here to go with that. Them.
Yeah, I mean, I love them.
Yeah, they're an amazing fitting boot. Like they're comfortable, they're lightweight.
But I just don't know if there's a boot withstand that constant pound that
what's tearing them up?
probably rocks. And steep.
Got to be the rocks.
Rocks and the steep slopes.
Slide
And it's
down.
funny because I laugh at this because like people out west think that they can be hard on them. You get like the rocks like that you guys have and stuff,
Yeah.
and then you get the thorns and the
Thorns.
briars and everything else
Yeah.
that goes through it. That's like, so the way Kirk is on stuff, that's like my dad. Like my dad, like I'll be like, oh man, like I'll give him a pair of Sitka pants or something that I have that have lasted me for like 3 years, look pretty good. And I feel like I'm not like easy on stuff.
Right.
He gets them, he'll come back and it looks like they're just completely shredded. I'm like, what? Like what did you do, Dad? Is it just hunting?
Yeah, that's Kirk's soulmate.
Yeah,
Must be.
yeah. My dad's just so hard on stuff, and
Yep.
it's hilarious to see. But I guess the moral of that story was just like in the East area, we got you got the kind of rugged terrain. You guys have probably the most rugged that you can find, and mixed with the vegetation that's rugged.
It's rough.
I would say that
multiple roads
those mines, that mine country, coal country down in southern West Virginia where these guys hunt, man, whew, it is gnarly. And I mean, like you, I've been everywhere. I've hunted in Colorado and Montana. I've been overseas to Afghanistan mountains. I mean, southern West Virginia is tough country, tough country.
Yeah, I want to hunt there. I mean, I mean, it doesn't sound fun the way everybody's explaining it, but
it's a great place to be.
no, I think it would be just an absolute blast. But it's, the Appalachian Mountains in general, a lot of the places like, and the other thing, okay, say out of the coal country and you get into the timber country, try climbing those steep slopes. They might not be 10,000 foot tall, but with
Right.
oak leaves on them.
Yeah.
And it's just slippery.
And briars
it's hard
and brush.
briars and
Yep.
brush and rattlesnakes.
Yeah, I haven't found the country out west, Colorado, Montana. It's a lot of times it's steeper and it's the grades are longer. Like
Yeah.
you said, it's
Yeah.
like you're having to hike a long way uphill.
Yep.
But the country it's every bit as doesn't want you here in southern West Virginia. It's like angry at you. And it's not necessarily the same as it is out west.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I mean, it's tough out west and the only thing I've ever done out west is mountain lion hunt.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this is tougher than out west.
Nah.
It's different.
Oh yeah,
It's
it is different.
different.
It is different. It will take a toll on you.
Yeah.
Especially deer hunting's extremely tough, just because of terrain.
Yep.
We were talking about thermals don't run like they're supposed to.
Yeah, we were joking earlier
Yeah.
about like when you listen to, and it like say podcasts that are centralized around the Midwest, their style of hunting is just different. If their wind shifts, they're getting out of the tree. If we got out of the tree when the wind shifts, we'd never hunt.
We would never hunt.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
I mean,
Jared. Yeah, you know about it. I mean, all of us
Yeah. I mean,
experience that.
yeah. In these hills and hollers, I mean, the wind just does something different every 10 minutes, it seems like.
Yeah.
So it's just, you try to play it the best you can and make the best decisions, but man, it's just,
And you can make reasonable assumptions of things, but you have
Right.
to understand that there's going to be variables that are thrown into that
Right.
that
Yep.
I don't know anybody that can predict.
yeah, it's almost impossible to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that in southern Ohio. I mean, you hunt
Yeah.
Ohio quite a bit.
Yep.
And killed an absolute stud last year.
Yeah, I did kill a good one last year. Real good one.
You were supposed to come hunt with me.
I was.
You were supposed to come hunt with me, Jared, and you were going to come up and you're going to film me. I was going to film you. We're going to have, this grand old time.
Yep.
We're going to, he's going to stay at my house and stuff, and not going to go any further there, but like, we're going to hang out. And he was like, and that was the day before. What happened at your house?
So I had a water line break and I couldn't find it. So I basically dug up my whole yard with a shovel trying to find a water leak.
Yeah.
And it's, the end of October and the only thing I want to worry about is hunting big bucks.
Yeah.
And here I am digging up a water line. So long story short, I couldn't find the leak. So I had to hire some dude that I paid $400 for to come out, and he found it within a couple minutes. But I got that fixed and taken care of, and I'd already canceled on Beau, and I knew that he wanted to hunt and all that. So I had trail camera pictures of some great bucks on our place in Ohio. So I was like, you know what? I got a couple days. I'm going to go see if I can make it happen. So I hopped in the truck and took off, and I killed that buck the next morning. So
Well, you were sending me pictures,
Yeah.
like leading up to it, and I was like, it's just a matter of time.
yeah, I mean, this ridge point, for whatever reason this year, I don't know if the acorns hit right or whatever, but man, it was just on fire. There was like 6 different shooter bucks in there. And, I'd hunted a couple times before. And like you said, the wind, I'd went in that evening And well, this was before, a couple days before I went back and killed the buck, but the wind was supposed to be straight out of the north. And so I actually parked clear in the creek bottom, was going to walk up this point, and I figured that the bucks were bedded, farther up in this holler, but I got up top and the wind was straight out of the south, completely opposite of what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
So completely screwed me up. So I ended up hunting that evening. Didn't see any big bucks, but yeah, the wind was just completely opposite in there, which I don't know how that happens.
Oh no, and the vegetation and the terrain throws so much into it. We were talking earlier about like I have this one spot that's just like and you guys don't have it down here that much, but like a lot of hemlocks. I had a whole side hill that's covered in hemlocks, and that wind direction, no matter what it is, always comes downhill.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't get enough sunlight to warm it up, and it's just always a cool draft that comes down.
Yeah.
And so I always hunt on the lower side of where I'm like hoping that the deer are going to come through, and there's very few places that are that predictable. And still you get some shifts, and there's so many variables, wind speed and just there's so much that can be thrown into it. But I was so pumped when you texted me that you got that buck. I was like, after all that trouble, because you felt so bad, you're like, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm gonna have to cancel on you last minute. And I was like,
he was stoked.
Totally understand.
Oh yeah, it was
awesome.
That was your biggest buck ever, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was right at 150.
Yeah, he's a giant.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And the cool story about that buck is, and I didn't realize it when I shot him, but it turns out to be the same exact buck that I'd chased the year before. And I'd actually got a shot at him pretty close to that area. And funny thing about that was this buck came in that morning. This was a year before. And he was walking in just absolutely perfect. He was going to walk through a shooting lane at 20 yards. He had no clue I was there. I was on the edge of some pines on the downwind side of it. He was just cruising the edge of those pines. And I saw him coming. I got ready, came to full draw. He walks. As soon as he hits that lane, all he had to do was stop, and he was dead. He was 20 yards. So as soon as he hit that lane, he turns and he's facing right at me. And he's kind of eye level with me because I was on the downhill side of that ridge. And he stops and he looks, he's got kind of his head down, like, sneaking through. And I could see his eyeballs just look right up at me. And he just locked up. And, he's at 18 yards. I'm already at full draw. He's quartered hard to me. And I've got that open pocket right in his neck, that hard quartering shot. So I shoot heavy arrows and fixed blades. I'm sending it. So, I leveled up with him and squeezed it off. And when I shot, he ducked and turned his head, and I buried that broadhead in the outside of his main beam on the right side. The arrow just stuck right in his rack, and it broke off. But I'm pretty sure the broadhead was stuck in his main beam. But I watched him walk off. I didn't hurt him, but hunted the rest of the season, never got a chance at him. And then the next year, or this past year when I killed him, I didn't realize it was him because he'd put on a lot of mass and he had a lot of trash and stuff on his bases. So I didn't put two and two together that it was the same deer. But when he came up the ridge that morning, it's dark. It's just getting gray light enough to be able to pick out things, below you. So I hear him coming, a big buck walk through the timber, just he's on a mission to
slightly
get
quieter than a squirrel.
Yeah, slightly quieter. But I hear him coming up the ridge, and it's dark, and I've got my binos out, and I'm scanning, trying to find him. And I finally pick him up, and he's got his head up, and I just saw, massive frame. So I immediately put the binos down, grabbed my bow, and I'm thinking he's going to walk through, and it's going to be too early. I'm not going to get a shot at him. So luckily, there's a scrape right underneath of me, like 10 yards right underneath me. He starts working that scrape, and he's taking his good old time. I'm like, just keep doing what you're doing. The wind is perfect. The wind's blowing up the ridge, and there's no chance he's going to smell me. So he works that licking branch, and it's getting to be where I can see him now. So he comes out underneath me. So I've switched to shooting no peep sight on my bow. Just did away with the peep sight completely because this has burned me in the past. Bucks coming in early or late.
Yep.
So this buck comes in, I come to full draw, and I could see him, good enough. And I put it on him and made a perfect shot. It was like 14 yards, easy shot. But he runs off and crashes 60 yards away. And, I knew it was a good deer.
Yep.
I knew it was probably 130-ish buck. That's what I was guessing, which is big enough for me.
Yeah.
But, I get down and start blood trailing him, and I see him laying down there, and I look with my binos, and I see 5 points sticking up on that one side. And I knew what buck it was at that point, and I just freaking lost it.
Oh.
I mean, I was jumping all over.
Well,
the
and
place.
then what happened when you gutted it?
Yeah, so I'm way back
This is
in.
really cool.
Yeah, so I'm way back in there. I'm there by myself. I got to get him out. It's steep. So I'm like, I'm just going to quarter this thing out. And I had my e-bike. I was like, I'll just pack him out on the e-bike. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So I quartered him out. And like I always do, I like to do an autopsy just to see what I hit, what organs, whatever. So I reach up in his chest cavity to pull the lungs and stuff out. And I could feel something hard up in there. Like it didn't feel normal. So I start pulling on it, and I actually had to start cutting on it to get it out of there. But I pulled out probably about a 7-8 inch piece of a crossbow bolt with a fixed blade broadhead on it that was sitting on top of his heart. It had gone through his lung, was sitting on his heart, and it was encased in scar tissue. So that deer had that in there for a while. So,
really? I didn't know that part of the story.
yeah, so he had that arrow stuck in him. So I'd remembered from a couple years back, the neighbor telling me that his daughter had shot a buck with a crossbow and it got away. So I was like, I wonder if this is the same buck. So I called the dude. He came over, and his daughter, she was like 8 years old, had shot this buck with a crossbow and just didn't get quite enough penetration because he was kind of quartered to and it went through the shoulder.
Yeah.
But he had that piece of bolt stuck in him, and she actually wanted it back. I got a picture of her with the buck, and she wanted to take that piece of broadhead home, so I gave it to her. But they couldn't believe that the buck had made it.
Was it the year before?
It was 2 years before
Really?
they had shot it.
Daggone.
Yeah. So they had shot him. He was probably like 3.5 years
Someone
old.
shoots me with
Yeah.
a bolt in the lung and next to my heart.
Yep.
No way I'm living another couple
And then
years.
Jared shoots him in his antler the next
Shoots
year.
Yeah. So this buck has just been hammered.
Yeah, just living life paranoid.
It just confirms how tough they
How
really
tough they
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
my.
crazy.
Because I mean, they are they're
That's nuts.
tough animals.
Yeah.
Lose a lung and then have, a baseball-sized piece of scar tissue sitting on top of your
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
nuts.
And you could not tell that he was hurt. I mean, he was just a big, healthy, mature buck, and he was fine. So it's crazy. But yeah, he was a good buck.
Decker
Yeah.
Brady was a good one.
Oh yeah, he's an incredible deer.
Absolutely.
They grow them big in southern Ohio.
Yeah.
They do.
Where were you hunting exactly?
What was that weight?
Well, we actually just lost that piece of property. They just sold it, so I don't even have access to it anymore. So I'll show you where it's at. You can go knock on the door, see if you can get in.
You
there.
were
I
like
don't
in
do
the
very-
south central of the eastern quadrant of the northern
Of the
part,
the northeast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
southeast
Of
Ohio.
Lake Huron.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can send me their information. I don't do good with I don't normally have good luck with knocking on doors.
Yeah, it's like a big bear walking up to the door.
They just don't seem to give me permission.
Well, you don't hog squeal at them too, do you? When you
Nah, I try some other calls with them.
Just doesn't work.
I'm telling you right now, I'm cutting the hog squeal out of my repertoire.
Yeah. Probably a good idea.
Yeah. The hog squeal is going to stay in a box.
I don't even want you doing it here.
So I got
They
to
might
ask.
come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
So when you did the hog squeal, did you think in your mind while you were doing it that this is probably not a good idea?
No, I honestly, I've done it before, and it's like they all just bust up. But he was coming.
I think
I
the
think
thing was he was angry.
Yeah.
He was not in a good mood. That sow had just turned him down.
Yeah.
He wanted to get a piece, and she had turned him down.
That's
So
right.
he gave her what for, and then
Yeah.
Josh decided to challenge him, and that was just it.
And I honestly, that thing had turned. And in the video before Greg says, "Oh, I'm shutting her down,"
Can we show the video
and
earlier?
quits-
We could probably put it on top
Yeah.
of this video,
Yeah.
can't
Yeah.
we?
and that hog's coming towards us. And then when I was like, dude, that thing, I was like, oh man, I'm thinking I messed up, man. The hair on his back stood up, and I was like, oh God.
It was at that moment he knew.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was thinking, oh heck. I said, we gotta go, Greg.
Time's up.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I think we were talking in the truck, and I said, Josh, why didn't we just let those pigs have their hillside? We could have just there's plenty of hillsides. We could have called into another holler. Would have been fine.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
well, you live and you learn.
Yeah, that's just ain't
Or do
right.
you?
Apparently not.
According to Josh's mother, he doesn't learn. She came in the other day and she was just listing off the surgeries. Shoulder, knee, ankle, femur, just a laundry list
Yeah.
of big major injuries.
Yeah, I'm gonna find some new friends. I think.
Well,
man.
yeah, that's the thing. He's hurt. His wife's hurt. His son went through the same thing a year
Yeah.
ago.
4 days a year, 4 days to date from when I tore my ACL on Thursday. My son tore his ACL the last day of turkey season last year.
And what happened
And a-
there?
and a
Because it's a similar
Yeah,
story.
and a raccoon. This is no lie. A raccoon got after him and scared him. It was right there at the gray. I mean, I had a turkey gobbling because
He's 11 years
yeah,
old.
he's 11 years old at the time. And I heard a bird gobbling, Brody, just sitting there. I said, listen, did you hear that? Oh, no, I didn't. Listen. And so I went over here to hoot again. And I'm over there. Then all of a sudden he starts squalling. No. And like he runs over to me and he's running to me and man, he just hits the deck. And I go over and I could tell that, like, when you hear your child, like, when you have a kid, if they're scared
Oh, yeah.
by their sound.
Yeah.
Like, I knew he was terrified, but I didn't know what was happening. And dude, I went over and like one big swoop, I grabbed his arm and jerked his butt up. And I said, what is wrong with you? He said, a raccoon. I said, a raccoon? I said, you scared every damn bird off in this county just now. I said, what's up? And he's like, oh. Now I looked and that raccoon is right there, like 6 feet behind Brody. He's sitting there going, "Arf, arf, arf." And I'm like, Jesus. And I went over and tried to kick him in his head and he ran up a tree. And so Brody's sitting there, he's holding his knee. And I was like, well, come on, let's go over the ridge. And so Brody's dragging his leg. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Let's go. We got turkey hunting to do. Negative.
Brody's
Negative.
a beast.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
Oh, no, he
to
is.
handle that.
Yeah. I mean, and like he was sucking it up. And I ended up, took us about 2 hours to get him off the mountain. And he tore his ACL,
Apple didn't fall too far from the tree.
Yeah, I mean, it's my wife fell while I was turkey hunting. She had just had hip surgery, back in February, and she was recovering from it. And you can't make this stuff up.
No.
I hope this stuff isn't contagious because I
Seriously.
feel like
you
I'm
can't
in
make it
danger
up.
here.
And I'm in Virginia turkey hunting, and she calls me, and she's like, hey, I've got to go to the hospital. And I was like, hey, what's wrong? She's like, I fell, and I think I've broke my hand. I was like, man, okay. I said, you need me to come on home because I was only like 3 hours away. She's like, no, just you do your thing. It's okay. I think it just broke bone. I'll just go to the hospital. I was like, okay. I told her after she went to the hospital, she had, a broken hand. I was like, I think I'm fortunate that I was out of state when this happened. I said, because I think that we've had so many injuries in the past 4 years between Brody and I and Stacy that they would start to think that I'm causing these injuries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm so glad that I was out of state when you fell and broke your hand because I think people would start thinking like that I'm hurting y'all. My son, he had his ACL done, and like 5-6 months into it, doctor released him to ride his bicycle, right? So Brody's like stoked he gets to ride his bicycle, his mountain bike. He rode his mountain bike. He wants to be hot shit, jump curbs and stuff, snaps his arm the first evening he gets on his bicycle. Has a cast from his hand to his shoulder because he snaps his arm. Breaks his arm while doing physical therapy for his ACL. This is you can't make it up. This is real life stuff.
It's a wild, wild west out here, baby.
It's in the water.
Oh, well, you better not drink none of it then.
No, I'm gonna drink bottles.
Yeah,
It's like Mexico.
It's much safer.
Yeah. I mean it, but I mean it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I guess after this we'll have dinner and we'll just sit in our chairs.
Just,
Nobody move.
Nobody move.
I'm going to put my helmet on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been. I mean it, but it is what it is. I mean,
There is no strain of COVID could possibly hurt you guys.
dude, I said that since it came around.
Like,
But
Just
I don't know. I don't know.
Man. But anyways, it was a good day at the Tethrd teaching train tour over there at the what's the name of the
Over at the Huntington Archery Club
Huntington Archery Club
down in Milton, West Virginia, and
Yeah, it was
had a
good
pretty
time.
good turnout.
Yeah.
Very hospitable folks
Yeah.
at the archery club. Man,
Yeah.
those guys were so nice and accommodating and helpful. It was I'm very thankful that they let us host the event there, and to Josh and his crew that put it on. So it's a lot of work to put those on. So I'm super pumped that we were able to do it. We're definitely coming back too. I enjoy it here. I like spending time with Josh and his crew.
Oh, we like having Greg here. He's easy to beat up on. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, he gives me a lot of shit too. He sure does.
It's definitely an eventful.
No, I mean it's been a great time. I mean, they came down turkey hunted for a couple of days. Of course, the birds I don't know what turkey season's been for everybody, but it's been good here. And then like the last
Yeah, it's
5-6 days here in West Virginia, it's just
quiet.
like quiet. People.
No, you're wrong.
Oh, I know.
That guy, Josh is over there. He's like, yeah, turkeys haven't been gobbling. This guy's under his breath. He's like, they're gobbling. We're like, Josh's like, yeah, I haven't heard any in 5 or 6 days. And they're gobbling.
And Beau was the only one that heard him because like I'm thinking,
seeing him behind up laughing. And Josh's like, well, we've killed
you know,
15 birds this year.
Yeah.
They stopped gobbling in our area. He's like, they're gobbling.
he's like, I was in the mountains this morning. They're still gobbling. I was like, hey, they might be where you were at, but I'm just telling you where we hunt. They've all but quit.
There was
Now,
no gobbles.
Even when you fell, your hearing went out.
Yeah.
And the
Well,
one,
me and Jared hunted the next day at a little further north, about an hour north of here, and we didn't hear a single bird either.
Really?
And it was on private land that hadn't been messed with, so like untouched birds.
so we only stayed out till like 7:30 because Greg was wanting breakfast. Like
Greg started
real-
thinking about pancakes.
I was like, Greg, we've got to stay out at least until 9:00. But he was like, no, I'm ready for breakfast, so let's go. I was like,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, he's my boss. I can't argue with
No.
him.
you know the true story. I was like, Jared, it's about 8:00. I could sure use a pancake. And Jared goes, me too. Let's go. And I was like, all right, fine.
Twist my arm.
I've had a really stressful week.
Yeah.
No, we were tired, and yeah, we didn't hunt that hard that day. we
Nah,
hunted
but,
pretty.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just
Well,
fun.
so we're pulling up, and Jared said, he's telling me the history of this piece. Him and our good buddy Grant, they've hunted this. It's Grant's family land, and they know it very well, and they've heard, a billion gobblers on there, and they've killed a whole bunch of them, and they know where they roost, and so we were up there, obviously, before daylight, and Jared's like, in the past, they're always gobbling on this ridge. A dog will sound off down in the holler, one holler over, and there'll be 15 birds just fire off on the hill. Well, an hour after
nothing.
daylight, and we had not heard a single bird. So either they weren't there or they had just shut up.
Yeah, and if you're turkey hunting in West Virginia, and I'm sure they have a page in Pennsylvania wherever you're hunting, but there's a Facebook page, West Virginia Turkey Hunters, and you can get on there in the morning if you have service, and there'll be somebody on there every morning that says, "What are y'all hearing?"
Mm-hmm.
And so all the turkey hunters from around the state, they'll say, "Nothing here," and they'll put like -Logan, or hearing some over here -Putnam County, and they put the county where they're hearing them. And I check it pretty often. I don't know if I check it daily, but I check it pretty often. And the birds that everybody's hearing now are all in the northern panhandle or the eastern panhandle
Higher
of the state,
elevation.
higher elevation, big mountains. They're still gobbling a little bit up there, but they're not doing a lot. Down here, everybody's saying they went silent.
Right, that guy's hearing them.
They're gobbling
Well,
some.
I mean, obviously, Beau, I would tell you the same thing. We're hunting in two different areas, and I'm not hearing them, and you are.
I'm not hearing him either.
Yeah.
We're good.
But that guy was pretty adamant. It's like, oh, they're gobbling.
I mean,
I saw his face. He
Yeah.
was like, oh, they're gobbling.
I mean, I did get a shot at one, so I can't say much. I should have tagged out. I killed one the first day of season, And I've hunted a lot since then, and it's been pretty tough. But the ones that me and Kirk got on, we just happened to be driving and just spotted them walking up the road.
Yeah.
There was 2 big longbeards, and we parked the truck and got out and took off after them and got a shot, and we got it all on video. And I don't know what happened. That turkey must have said his prayers or something that morning, because you could see the pattern of that shotgun just go right over his head, and he just flies off.
Kirk cut it down frame by frame, and you can see feathers come off.
I mean, this is TSS.
And
I mean, it's a dense pattern.
Pitches with the other one.
Yeah, it just flies off. It's crazy.
Really?
Said, I see you next year. Hasta la vista, Jared.
Yeah, he's gonna trip you next time.
Yeah, yeah.
You're gonna be getting on a bird, and he's gonna kick you.
Yep, push you over the hill.
That's the kind of guy Josh is.
Class act.
Sons of guns.
Oh, man.
That's right. That's right.
Well, I'm pretty sure the camera SD card's about to run out in the next 5 minutes, so I think we're going to have to wrap this one up. So,
Yeah, we're over an hour.
yeah, I think there was an hour and 19 minutes on that.
I think there was 103 minutes, so.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, we're
We're
about
probably cut out the last 5 minutes on the video. We'll just end on some random note on the video.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
Yep. So, anyways, Greg, do you want to give some more information on Tethrd and the Teach and Train Tour?
Yeah, it's coming down to the end. We have a few more events that are happening around the country. I think we're in Michigan, and that's in the end of June. We're coming to see you guys in Philly at the Total, or not in Philly, but in Seven Springs, PA.
Yep. I'll probably release that this week. So
Okay.
As people are listening to it this weekend.
Total Archery Challenge in Philly. We'll be there. Beau will be there.
Pittsburgh. Seven Springs.
I keep saying that. Seven Springs.
He doesn't know anything.
I don't know anything.
Philly
about
was
PA.
last weekend.
Yeah, we already had that one. But Beau's going to be there with us.
Yep.
You'll be there in the booth with us, and we'll be shooting. I won't be there. I've got a conflict. I can't be there. But then we got one in Michigan, and I don't know if there's any more. I can't think right now off the top of my head. But if you're interested in learning about saddle hunting and you want to get, see, touch, and feel this stuff is super important because it's expensive. It's an investment, and I don't care if you're looking at Tethrd gear or some other saddle hunting gear. I mean, it's expensive, right? So, and you can't just walk into Cabela's or the Walmart sporting goods section and try it. So that's why we do these events, is because you can actually get in a tree and have, Jared or Carl or somebody there that has done this before and can kind of walk you through it and take some of that fear out of it, some of the anxiety of, man, do I really want to invest in this type of system without ever having to try it? So that's why we do it, is it just helps hunters.
Yep.
And so we have them all over the country. They're not all run by us. Some of them are just dudes. Like, we have a lot of these events where they're just dudes. They're like, hey, we love saddle hunting. We love Tethrd. We want to introduce it to our community and our buddies. So we send them a whole bunch of test gear and a whole bunch of stuff to give away. And they have the event, and they're kind of all over the country. If you want to go, there's a list on our website. You can check it out. But it's really not about making money. It's really not about doing that. It's just about helping people out.
Yeah, and you have a really good chance of winning gear.
Yeah.
Giving out a bunch of stuff. And I think the one guy at Philly last week, he won like 3 different things. His tag kept getting pulled. And like you can win, you can win stuff, you get stuff at a discounted rate. And the biggest thing, like you said, is the educational piece of it.
That's number one.
And being able to learn from those that have been doing it for years and be able to understand that. I mean, I learned a bunch in the last 2 events, and I've been saddle hunting for the last couple of years, and I just learned. And then, in addition to that, your guys' YouTube channel, your personal one, G2 Outdoorsman, you can learn a lot on there. Jared's got a ton of stuff. What's your YouTube channel called?
Hunt Appalachia.
Hunt Appalachia. Or as I call it, Appalachia.
Appalachia.
Yeah.
I used to call it Appalachia, and then all the West Virginians made fun of me, so I started calling it Appalachia.
Yeah, no, I gotta work on that.
We got our own dialect up here.
You got something.
And the bad thing is us northern West Virginians, we talk different than what these southern West Virginians do. But if you hang out with them for a couple of days, I start talking like,
they're cowboys down here.
I've noticed that. It is different. You guys, you're only a couple hours apart, and you do.
But if I'm around him, I start talking like him because in my mind, like he can't understand any other dialect.
That's so true.
So I have to blend it. Yeah, I have to talk like he does.
Yeah.
That's right. It is good though that we all hunt good together. We've had a good time.
Yeah. And then-
last couple years.
Then obviously, and I had Kirk on the podcast recently, and I plan on having you guys on again to talk about hound hunting and everything. But the Untamed YouTube channel.
Go check us out on YouTube at the Untamed. Find us on Instagram, and I think it's the Untamed Hunt on Facebook because
Someone's got the
somebody
Untamed.
got some stripper or something got it.
Ooh.
Yeah. So check us out. Go subscribe, like some stuff, follow us.
Now, if you're hearing the audio version of this, if you're listening to I don't know where we're going to release this, but wherever we release it, can we put this on YouTube and show all these clips
Yeah,
too, like all this, like the
that's
cat.
what we'll do.
So the cat jumping out, we'll probably put
that's
it.
definitely what we're going to do with
We'll
that.
put that
We'll
on the
need-
Untamed.
So we'll put it.
channel.
We'll probably put it on
your
Tethrd
all's
too.
channel.
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
just go wherever and put it on your
Yeah.
channel and all
Yep.
that stuff, so people can watch.
Yeah,
it.
that- I mean,
And we'll put the cat video, the cat
And the
jumping
hog
at you.
video.
Put the hog
And the
video.
hog video.
Put Jared's kill shot from that big Ohio
Yeah, I
buck
mean,
we
it-
talked about.
and that's what it's all about. I mean, you got a diverse group right here that all walks of life and all walks of the outdoors and sitting here laughing and having a good time. And I told you before, that's the main thing. What
Yeah, it is.
is to laugh. I mean,
Yep.
It's like you said to me on the way here, some words of wisdom. You're like, if you want to find bad news, you can find that anywhere. We got to create the happiness. You
that's
know,
right.
There you go.
laughing. And
that's exactly right.
having
And
a good
that's
time.
Yeah.
you find.
I haven't stopped laughing since I've been here.
Well, you can't. I mean, seriously, you think about it. You find bad at every turn that you make,
That's
around
right.
every corner. So we got to make good and we got to laugh.
Especially
and
on
that's the
social
way,
media.
Yeah,
you know, you
that's-
get on there and it's just Debbie Downers
Yeah.
constantly.
And that's why I end up with torn ACLs and broken bones and everything because I like to live life at the maximum speed,
155 right here.
whatever it is. I want to go as hard as I can.
Just send
So-
it. That's his motto.
Bo, I
Just send
appreciate
it.
you having me on.
Absolutely.
And,
Yeah,
and,
thanks,
and
guys.
making the trip down
Yep.
Yep.
to support the event and support us and Tethrd. And I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Let's eat some food here shortly.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
I'm in.
See ya.
See ya.